Hello, I'm Armin Budish. Welcome to Golden Opportunities.
Today, with the financial future in flux, are annuities the answer? We'll add up the advantages and issues. Then, if you're restless when you recline, we'll seek to solve your sleepless nights. You detect mysterious behavior in your loved one with dementia. We'll clue you in on how to create connection and cooperation. Plus, we'll catch up with a Cleveland comedian as he rants and raves about finding humor in our hometown. And we'll make sure you know your rights.
It's time to get GOing, so pull up a chair and join us at our kitchen table for Golden Opportunities. An uncertain market, record low interest rates. If the fiscal fallout has affected your financial future, you may be taking annuities into account as a repair option. Jim Lineweaver says you better make sure you understand their opportunities as well as their obstacles before developing an affinity for annuities. Jim's a certified financial planner with the Lineweaver Financial Group. Thanks for joining us, Jim.
My pleasure.
So, Jim, you and I have talked in the past about annuity pitfalls. Annuities sometimes can be a good alternative to other investments, though, too.
They can be. They can provide people in retirement with a little more safety and security depending on how they're structured and what type of an annuity you're actually purchasing.
Tell us about the two main types of annuities.
Well, they're basically deferred and immediate. And what a deferred annuity is going to do is allow you to put money in and have any gains on that, whether it be just from a straight interest-bearing account or maybe something tied to the market. But it's going to grow tax deferred and you don't have to pay any taxes until the actual money is taken out. And then the immediate version of that is to create a lump sum, give that to the insurance company, and then what they're going to do is they're going to pay you a guaranteed income stream. A lot of people coordinate that or think about that as like getting a guaranteed pension income like they might have from the old days from the corporations and things along that nature.
So the immediate annuity is almost like buying a pension. I mean, you're buying a stream of income.
Guaranteed, never outlived. You can tie family members into that too, but to get a monthly paycheck.
All right, so what are some of the circumstances where our viewers should consider annuities?
Well, there's on the fixed and like deferred side, as far as maybe an equity index, they can allow to have principal protection, so they don't have to worry about what's going on in the stock market or 9/11 or anything like that, and have safety and security there. There's other ones where they can actually be more tied to mutual funds and stuff, but there may be some more expenses with that as well. But for the most part, annuities, if structured correctly, can provide some security for people in retirement.
So can you have an annuity that allows you to participate in the gains, if there are gains, or of the stock market without subject to with a floor, basically?
There's some options inside what's called a fixed indexed annuity, where what they'll do is they'll buy an option on an index like the S&P 500. If that option is up at the end of the year and positive, they'll exercise that, cap it to a certain amount, and add it to your principal. If the market's down, they let it expire and the people can't lose any principal.
When would a immediate annuity, buying this stream of income, a pension, come into play?
Well, one of the biggest fears people have in retirement is running out of money. And whether you have it deferred and you turn it into an immediate annuity or you take out an immediate annuity, it'll give you that monthly paycheck that you never have to worry about, and some have some cost of living adjustments built into it too, so that you can stay ahead of inflation in retirement.
Now, we hear a lot about annuities. It's very complicated in reality.
It is.
Where can we get more information?
Well, we're going to host an education program for this exact reason, because people are very confused on this. And what we're going to do is it's actually going to be on March 19th at 1 o'clock in my Valley View office. And we have another one on Thursday, March 21st at 6:30 in my office in Valley View, because you're right, these are complicated and really everybody needs to know the positives and negatives about annuities.
And the phone number up there, 888-313-4009. They should call in advance and reserve a seat?
Yes, and it is free to your viewers as well.
Great, Jim. Thank you. Great information and very helpful. I look forward to your seminar. If you're unsure about annuities and their possible advantages, be sure to attend Jim's seminar. It's free. It's free, and it's filled with information. I've been there. They're good seminars. Find out more. Call the number that's coming up next.
Learn more by calling the Lineweaver Financial Group at 1-888-313-4009 or log on to www.lineweaver.net. Next, taming your tossing and turning. But first, next weekend we will spring forward 1 hour with our clocks for daylight saving time. But does this change in time save us anything else besides daylight? We'll conserve the answer until we return.
Do you suffer from excruciating leg or foot pain? Do you have numbness, tingling, burning, or the feeling of pins and needles in your legs or feet? Have you been told you have to live with neuropathy pain? If so, pick up the phone now and call 440-248-5070 because real help has finally arrived. Stop suffering needlessly with debilitating foot or leg pain and call Soul and Spine and Wellness Center today. 440-248-5070.
Daylight saving time was first used in Germany in World War I to save fuel for the war by replacing artificial lighting. The sun set on this effort until the need to conserve energy resources rose again in the next World War. And then, in the 1970s, following an oil embargo, daylight saving time was shown to save 10,000 barrels of oil each day. But for many of us, this change in time allows us the resources to savor more sunshine.
Next weekend, when we spring ahead with our clocks as part of daylight saving time, we lose an hour of sleep. And as we get older, it seems we need every bit of shut-eye we can get. Well, don't nod off on me now. Dr. Dennis Auckley works day and night to help those with sleep issues. And he's here to help us nip our sleep problems in the bed, or should I say bud. Dr. Auckley is the director of the Metro Health Center for Sleep Medicine. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for putting up with my bad puns there. Lack of sleep is a problem for all ages, but does it get worse as we get older?
Sure. Well, total sleep requirements do change as we age. The most dramatic change occurs from going from childhood and adolescence into adulthood, then it tends to stabilize. But as we reach our more elderly years, we do tend to get a little less sleep, probably on average about 15 to 30 minutes. But probably the total sleep time isn't the biggest issue. What's more dramatic or more important probably is the quality of sleep that we get as we get older. And so what we tend to see is that we spend more time in lighter stages of sleep, which can lead to problems with awakening or arousals frequently during the night, leading to fragmented sleep and daytime sleepiness as a result.
What other issues awaken as we get older in terms of our sleep problems?
Sure. Well, like many other medical problems, sleep disorders are more common as we tend to age. We've talked on the show before about some of the common sleep disorders, and we do see that problems like sleep apnea, whether it's obstructive where the airway is collapsing, or central where the airway is, or the signal to breathe is just not sent, to problems with insomnia, to even movement disorders, all become much more common as we get older.
Restless leg syndrome, what is that?
That's an interesting movement disorder that actually occurs when we're awake, but it affects your sleep. So when we lie down at night to relax to get into bed, we start to have an unusual sensation in our legs, wanting to move and twitch and jerk your legs, and so it prevents you from falling asleep.
What about other medical issues? How does that, which ones impact our sleep?
Sure. Just like sleep disorders becoming more common as we age, most medical disorders do, and this can run the gamut from problems with heart disease, respiratory diseases, and even gastrointestinal problems. All these can impact the quality and quantity of sleep we get, and they can cause problems with breathing during sleep, may interfere with sleep.
Medications we take?
Exactly. Medications often used to treat those same disorders can also have the same problems. They can be stimulating, they can cause problems, even aggravating problems like restless legs, or even affecting our dreams.
What about things like heartburn and having to go to the bathroom more often? Those things affect our sleep too, I assume.
Oh, sure, yeah. They tend to, again, create problems with interrupting our sleep, making us wake up more often at night, causing more fragmented sleep and lighter sleep, which is not as good quality sleep.
How you set up your bedroom, that can also have an impact on how good a sleep we have?
Yeah, so in the sleep community, we've long been advocating having good practices or behaviors that we call good sleep hygiene. And a recent National Sleep Foundation poll has really endorsed that, finding that actually having a very comfortable, quiet, cool, and dark bedroom environment is very important in obtaining good quality sleep.
Any advice for helping us adjust to daylight saving next weekend?
Yeah, so what will happen as we spring forward is that we lose an hour of time, and what we like to endorse in the sleep community is don't lose an hour of sleep, lose an hour of something else. Because the problem we're going to run into is come Sunday night and Monday morning, if your internal clock is not adjusted, you may actually short yourself on sleep and have more problems on Monday. So what we advocate is that you try to start advancing or moving your internal clock forward about a half hour, maybe a day, a couple days preceding that. There's been interesting studies showing that the rate of car accidents is much higher on the Monday morning driving into work, probably as a result of people still being sleepy when they're driving.
And one of the things that I'm very impressed with, we've gone through a whole list of problems that can occur. You can actually help solve those problems. In fact, if I recall correctly, it's like almost 100%. I mean, you can really treat a lot of the sleep problems well, and you have a great program at Metro, and I strongly recommend people give you a call if they're having trouble.
Yes, so we do a full comprehensive sleep evaluation and try and pinpoint exactly what the problems are, and for most of these conditions, we can intervene and successfully improve people's sleep.
Thank you very much.
Sure,
great information. Don't forget, Saturday night, spring ahead with your clocks 1 hour. And if the spring in your step has already been sprung because lack of sleep has made you slack, it's time to seek help. Use the information coming up next. Metro has a great program. My thanks to Dr. Ockley for his eye-opening information.
Find out more by calling the Metro Health Center for Sleep Medicine at 216-778-3441 or visit www.metrohealth.org/sleep. Next, answers for Alzheimer issues. Looking for places to go, things to do? Welcome to our community calendar. We plan vacations and family visits, but where our loved ones will live and how they'll be cared for? Not so much. But now there's help. Elder Care Coordinator Susan Krupitzer from Budish, Solomon, Steiner & Peck will present a free seminar on life care planning. The event will be held at the Solon Senior Center March 12th at 2 p.m. For more information, call 1-888-236-5173 or log on to www.budishandsolomon.com.
When caring for a loved one with dementia, do you ever find yourself looking for clues to the person that they used to be? Well, Dr. Cameron Camp says your investigative skills could be put to another and possibly more helpful use. In his book, Hiding the Stranger in the Mirror, he gives examples and advice on solving the mysteries of challenging behaviors of those with Alzheimer's. Dr. Camp is also the Director of Research and Development at the Center for Applied Research in Dementia in Solon. Thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure.
So helping care for someone with dementia, it can be very stressful, but you say part of that stress comes from approaching the situation incorrectly. What do you mean by that?
Many times people look at a problematic behavior and they say, this is what dementia is. We advocate asking this question, why is this happening? And the answer cannot be because they have dementia. It's a circular argument. Why is this happening? Because they have dementia. How do I know they have dementia? Because this is happening. It doesn't deal with the cause, only the symptoms. So we tell people, ask, why is this happening?
So explain a little bit more. Give me an example asking why this is happening. How do we do that?
It's important to think about the person with dementia and to begin, for instance, by asking the person, for example, why this is happening. So there's a woman in a nursing home, and every afternoon she would yell out for her daughter, Jamie, Jamie, where are ya? So staff finally went into her room and asked this question, why do you yell for Jamie? She says, darling, I don't know anybody here, but if I yell Jamie, someone always comes.
So sometimes what's going on is not what it might seem to look like.
Exactly. We stress this is a person with dementia, and this is a person who's a normal person who may have memory deficits, but we have to look at why it's happening.
So the subtitle of your book is A Detective's Manual for Solving Problems Associated with Alzheimer's Disease and Related Disorders. How do we crack the case? What do we do as a detective?
We ask the questions that a good detective or a good reporter would ask. Who, what, where, why. So for example, who is this person? What was their background? That can give us some good information. When is this happening? What time of day? Where is this happening? If we begin to ask those questions, we begin to get a clear picture as to why something might be happening.
All right, so you ask these questions, you get some information. Where do you go from there? How do you solve the case?
We look for the usual suspects, and we use a formula. The first thing we look for is there a physical cause? So is there undiagnosed pain? Is there an infection? Is there glasses that need to be worn but they're not being worn, or a hearing aid that needs a battery that's run down? There was a guy in a day center, for example, and after lunch he would get very agitated and almost paranoid. Turns out that he had diabetes. It hadn't been diagnosed, and his blood pressure, blood sugar would go out of whack in the afternoon. When they treated that, the problems went away.
So sometimes it might be things unrelated to Alzheimer's or dementia.
Yes, sometimes the intervention involves training staff or training family members. For example, in the social environment, teaching people how to ask the right question, like giving choices. Would you like this or that, as opposed to open-ended questions? Or the physical environment, putting up a beware of dog sign on the back fence will often keep someone from hopping into the neighbor's yard. You can also teach people with dementia how to learn new things, like to go to the bulletin board or to the refrigerator to look at the answers to the question they keep asking.
It's a complicated situation, but your book is very helpful, and I appreciate your coming in to talk with us about it.
It's my pleasure.
So Alzheimer's is challenging, no question, but by using Dr. Camp's suggestions, you can crack the communication code and better understand those mysterious behaviors to find out more. Track down his book, Hiding the Stranger in the Mirror, or use the information that's coming up next.
For more information, call the Center for Applied Research in Dementia at 440-829-4927 or visit their website, www.cen4ard.com. Next, Cleveland, the good, the bad, and all the jests.
It's time to get up and go. An exercise minute on golden opportunities.
Hello everybody, I'm Mike Carbon from Breakout Fitness, and today we're going to work our chest and our tricep muscles by doing a chest press. This is a great exercise because this is going to help us push our lawnmower across our lawn a little bit easier.
Or you can, if I can get my kid to do it, then I don't have to do this exercise. All right.
Works too. All right, we're going to hold the band in one hand, swing it across your back here, grab the opposite side, pull the band up to about the midpoint of your back, elbows up, shoulder height, so you want your arms bent at a 90-degree angle. We're simply going to press out in front of us, touch our fist, and bring it back to the starting position. Remember, slow and controlled movements, and you want to breathe throughout this exercise. All the way out and all the way back. Fully extend, buddy, you got it. Okay. 12 to 15 repetitions, 2 to 3 times a week, and now it's your turn to get up and go.
Give me something hard.
For your copy of the exercise booklet, please send $1 for postage to Golden Opportunities, 23240 Chagrin Boulevard, Suite 450, Beechwood, Ohio, 44122.
There are some who show their love for Cleveland by supporting the arts, rooting for the home team, or enjoying concerts and nightlife. Then there's Mike Polk Jr. He shows his love by skewering all that's Cleveland in his hilarious, hastily made Cleveland tourism videos on the internet, and now in his admittedly poorly researched but very funny book, Damn Right I'm From Cleveland, your guide to making it in America's 47th largest city. Today, Mike's here to humor us about our hometown. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, let's make it clear first. You love Cleveland, even though you take some shots.
I do very much love this town. I pick on it like someone picks on their younger brother, you know, where I'm allowed to pick on that town, but if you talk about my younger brother, then we're going to have issues. You understand?
Right. So let's start with an obvious target that you've played on, and that's our sports teams. And you know personally, because I understand that despite it all, you're a Cleveland Brown season ticket holder.
Don't say that too loud. Yes, I am. I have been for quite some time. My father's had his tickets since the 80s, and I started buying them off of him when he just totally gave up. And they got us on that whole PSL thing where you have to keep buying them and whatnot. So yeah, I've been toughing it out for quite some time, and I have a lot to say about them, and I do.
And I understand you actually had a very interesting rant at the Brown Stadium.
I did. It was after a particularly grievous away loss to Houston, and I went out there and I screamed at the stadium with my camera set up against on a tripod up against my car, and it went viral and got over 1 million views, which means there are a lot of people who feel similarly.
Give us a little sample of what you said.
Oh, somewhere along the lines of, it's actually impossible to be this consistently bad as opposed to being accidentally occasionally good. Only much louder and with a little bit of profanity.
All right, but we can't do that, obviously.
All right, we'll do it afterwards.
All right. So even though you've talked a lot about Cleveland today, you also have looked back at the way our city was founded. Tell us about that.
Yes, this is an interesting story. I mean, Moses Cleveland, as we all know, is the founder of Cleveland, and he actually spelled his name with an extra A in there. Oh, there he is. Isn't he a grim-looking guy? He actually started the trend of Clevelanders looking grim and unattractive. He was the first one. And he came to Cleveland, and and we assumed that he just stopped here because he got tired of rowing. And he said, "This'll do." He was also the first one to remark, "What does that smell?" in Cleveland, and we still haven't figured that out. But he, as soon as he founded the city, they dropped the A in his name accidentally, which was also pretty foreboding as far as what our educational system would end up like eventually. No offense, everyone. And then he immediately left and went back and never returned to Cleveland. Went to New England. So even our first guy who founded the city didn't stick around, which is kind of sad.
But you stick around.
I do stick around.
All
yes,
right.
I do. You can't lose me.
And
no one wants me anywhere else, frankly. So
you talked about other don't miss topics in your book, by the way. Damn right, I'm from Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Things like Cleveland dating on the cheap and Edgewater beach bingo.
Right. Those are actually those go together because I go to take a nice lady to Edgewater Beach because I treat my women like queens. We split a nice box of wine, really make a day of it. And you go down there and you witness all the sights and smells that Edgewater Beach has to offer, and it's absolutely free. The zoo is another place that you can go for free on Mondays to a date if you feel like it and you want to deal with 1 million school kids, which who does, who are much worse than the animals if you've ever been around them. But yeah, there's lots of options in here.
Proper protocol for riding the RTA?
Yes. That's mostly don't make eye contact. And if somebody stands up and gives a ranting speech about how the world is coming to an end and they're crazy and have tinfoil on their head, you should applaud when they're done because that just shows respect.
And lots of talk about drinking.
Yes, that's a favorite subject of mine and actually what fueled this book, as a matter of fact. And Cleveland, as we know, we are a big drinking town, and who wouldn't be? Again, going back to the sports teams, you got to do with what you got to do to deal with what we got.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate your being here
Thank you
today.
so much for having me.
So when you read Mike Polk's book, Damn Right I'm From Cleveland, you may wince, you may shake your head, but mostly you're going to laugh, and then you're going to laugh some more. My thanks to Mike for sharing his hard-hitting and humorous take on our favorite hometown.
To order the book, call Gray & Company Publishing at 1-800-708-2819 or click to www.grayco.com. Next, know your rights.
Sometimes it's about beating the clock. Sometimes it's about beating fate. And sometimes it's about beating the unimaginable. But there's one opponent our team loves to beat more than any other. We love beating the odds. We are the Metro Health System. We are the proud sponsor of the comeback.
Let me describe a real-life situation. I've changed the family's name. We'll call them the Smiths. Mrs. Smith has some dementia and is currently in assisted living. Her income and her assets are not great, but they're enough to cover her costs there for maybe 8 years or even maybe a little more. The assisted living folks, though, are starting to express concern about her increasing health problems. And if she has to go to a nursing home, her money will run out in a much sooner time. The family's goal is to keep her out of a nursing home for as long as possible, yet they want to make sure she has the increased level of attention that she requires. Is there anyone out there who can help? Thankfully there is. Here to explain is Elder Care Coordinator Susan Krupitzer. Susan, what's an elder care coordinator?
Hi, Armand.
Hi.
An elder care coordinator is someone who has the training to assess the situation and their care levels, and also be able to utilize the resources that are in the community.
And you have up here on your screen identify needs.
Familiar with care resources, match those appropriately for the family who might need them.
So when you say familiar with care resources, you're talking about assisted living and home care and nursing homes and everything that's available in the area.
Exactly, the whole gamut.
So let's go back to my example that I started with at the beginning. How would you as an elder care coordinator be able to help the Smith family?
So if the assisted living that is saying that she cannot remain there any longer, I might not take that as a truthful statement. That facility or that assisted living just might not be able to take care of her capacities at that time. So I would come in, meet with Mrs. Smith, meet with her family, reassess the situation, maybe look at her care records, and then try and match that with what's out there, maybe needing a different assisted living with more care levels, or maybe one that is specialized in Alzheimer's or dementia, and then trying to figure out what's best in that situation.
And if the other assisted living or a home care person it costs more money, can you help the family with that too?
Yeah, there's so many varieties of things that people can use for payment out there, and VA is one that's underused. I think that looking into if the VA could help this situation, she might be able to get up to $10,000 a month or a year in terms of assistance in-home, at the facility, or wherever that may be.
Thank you, Susan. So much that can be done. Appreciate the good information. So if your goal is to keep your loved one in the community and out of a nursing home for as long as possible, you need to consider using an elder care coordinator. If you want more information, give Susan a call. Her number's up next.
Call Budish, Solomon, Steiner, and Peck at 1-888-236-5173 for more information, or to schedule a speaker for your organization, or log on to www.budishandsolomon.com.
See you next week for more Golden Opportunities.
Would you like to join our kitchen conversation? All you have to do is call toll-free 1-877-765-1543 and leave us your question, name, and phone number. Or log on to www.golden.tv for all the latest information and show updates.